So one of these solutions is to create a waste-to-energy facility. One of these facilities is located in Union County, and it is a resource recovery facility. It's run by Covanta, which operates two-thirds of the waste-to-energy facilities in the U.S. And basically what they do is they collect and sort garbage that isn't suitable for recycling, and they burn that garbage and turn it into electricity. This is just a picture of what one of their facilities looks like. This waste-to-energy process basically collects garbage loads and mixes them to create a better consistency. They then throw it into a furnace that incinerates trash at 1,100 degrees Celsius. The remaining trash, which is about 10% of the original volume, goes back into the landfills, and this process creates 42 megawatts, which is enough to power 330,000 homes. This video just shows a little more detail about what the waste-to-energy process is.
Paper, plastic, metal, glass. Even if you've been really good about separating out your recyclables, there's always something left over. What happens to that? It doesn't have to go to a landfill. Covanta Energy from waste plants are turning post-recycled trash into power. Non-hazardous residential and commercial waste is delivered to a facility where it is combusted in a specialized chamber, creating steam that drives a turbine that makes electricity to power homes and businesses. State-of-the-art emissions control systems cool, collect, and clean combustion gases. All this is continuously monitored to comply with state and federal standards. At the end of the process, metals like steel and aluminum are recovered for recycling, and remaining residual materials are beneficially reused or disposed of in a landfill. Energy from waste. Recycling is important, but generating energy from waste is important too. Out goes the trash, and back comes clean electricity for your home.
So Covanta is a company that is just trying to create new ways to reuse plastics and put them to better use. Instead of sitting in a landfill, they're going to take it, burn it, and put it into electricity that can power homes. Van Brunt of Covanta said a great quote. He said, "The only ton of waste that doesn't have an impact is the ton you don't generate. But the next best thing is to recover energy to the extent that we can, and that is where we fit, right below recycling." So he agrees that waste-to-energy facilities aren't necessarily recycling, but they are a great alternative instead of all of this waste sitting in landfills and polluting the earth, the air, and basically not getting any use. So some incentives and pros to waste-to-energy facilities is that it reduces the CO2 emissions by a ton for every ton of waste that is not landfilled. Basically, fossil fuels don't have to be burned for energy. You don't have to have all those machines running to move the landfill around. There's no methane gas being generated, and that metals are collected for recycling from this waste to energy instead of just being sitting in the landfills. Some of the problems that these facilities face is that they have a limiting capacity to make only the amount of energy per day that they were designed to produce. There's only so much they can process in a day, and they can't increase that even though there's an increase in waste. And that plastics have a higher energy content than most trash, and so they can burn less plastics and receive the same amount of energy And so they're not going to burn plastics when they can burn more waste over plastics. Basically, if they do burn plastics, there's less waste that can be burned, and that they need to burn more garbage in order to make more electricity and make more money, and so they're not going to burn these plastics. And that only 13% of the US garbage is burned for energy, and that the rest is either found in other alternatives or is not burned at all. We don't have enough facilities to increase that percentage, at least not yet. Some people are worried that with this burning of waste that it creates air pollutants, which is a little bit of the case, but the Clean Air Act Amendment of 1990 kind of helps prevent that from being a serious issue. Basically, it made facilities only run certain periods of the day and to kind of help reduce the emissions. And so according to EPA, in the US, the SO2 emissions were lowered by 88% and nitrogen oxides by 24%, which is a great improvement. The Act also reduced emissions of lead, cadmium, mercury, and particulates by 96%. And the US went from emitting 58% of dioxins in 1986 to less than 0.1% in 2012. And so the diagram on the right just kind of shows the difference between 1968 and 2008, the reduction of emissions that this Clean Air Act helped us grow towards, and hopefully that it continues to help reduce the amount of emissions being produced. The problem is that not everyone believes in these waste-to-energy facilities. Ms. Maxey of the US and Canada Regional Coordinator for a Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives said that really we're just converting waste from solid garbage into air pollution and creating a landfill in the sky. And she also says that it's very expensive technology, and so cities that choose to go this waste-to-energy facility route are locked into it, preventing them from pursuing other types of waste reduction, composting, and recycling. Basically, it's a lot of money to build these facilities, and when you put that much money into it, you kind of have to see it out. And so cities that go this route, they have to do this. They can't really choose any other direction to go, and that locks them into this route instead of looking for other alternatives. Also, Clarissa Morawski, she's a managing director of Reloop, which is a company that promotes a circular economy. She suggests that we shift the focus away from waste-to-energy facilities and focus more on boosting recycling, and to forego multi-layer packaging or flame retardants where they aren't needed to create a simpler recycling system. She wants to get plastics into a state where it's more recyclable, and that way we can recycle more efficiently, cheaper, and hopefully create a better system. For people who aren't into the whole waste-to-energy facilities, there's also another route. It's called pyrolysis. And basically it's a technology made to extract energy from plastics and biomass waste. Basically what happens is that this waste is treated in a low oxygen environment, and it breaks into short chain hydrocarbons. These hydrocarbons can then be made into crude oils or chemical feedstocks. And so the diagram below just kind of shows the process, the product, and the market where they can be sold. Focusing mainly on pyrolysis, it can make char, bio-oil, and fuel gas, and these can be put into charcoal and chemicals and certain fuels. And so there's actually a company that takes these crude oils and makes it into jet fuels, and so you're basically getting fuel out of plastics, which is a great alternative. There's also Dow, that partnership with Reynolds Consumer Products, and they provide program that provides special orange hefty bags for residents to throw hard to recycle plastics like forks, chip bags, drink pouches, and they collect in sanitation trucks and send the bags for energy recovery. This program has collected more than 150 metric tons of plastic, which is a great start. And so This program right now is only being implemented in Idaho, but it can be something that moving forward gets into more states. And once again, like the waste to energy, it's not necessarily recycling, but it's a step towards a sustainable plastic system. So recycling in the future, the thing is, recycling is not always what it is shown in public, and that I don't think a lot of people realize that most of the plastics end up in the landfill. And plastics that do get recycled can't necessarily be handled in the capacity that they're being recycled. And so this is because the waste that we used to ship to China is not being shipped there anymore because of the anti-pollution campaign. And so the U.S. waste to energy facilities that we do have currently can't handle the large capacity of plastics that it needs to. And so we're looking into other options like building more facilities or different methods like pyrolysis and banning certain single-use plastics. But all in all, the best way to decrease the amount of plastic waste is to reduce and reuse before recycling.